This is what fat people have to do. They gotta roll over on the couch like that.
Don't fall.
Then you gotta hit it like this. You gotta hit the floor like that.
Nesha sat in the dim glow of her bedroom night light, arms wrapped around her knees, tears brimming in her eyes. The house was quiet, just the distant hum of hallway lights and the rhythmic tick of a wall clock. She'd tried writing in her journal earlier, but the page remained blank. Memories tumbled inside her, unbidden and insistent. When she first came to the TLC cameras, she seemed like a student blending into the background. Soft-spoken, careful, always watching, and cautious around attention. But behind that reserved exterior lay a soul who'd weathered storms, neglect, shame, betrayal, and the relentless weight of unmet expectations. Tonight, it all surged forward. She thought about her childhood home, rooms empty except for a bed and a handful of messy clothes, a mother who worked double shifts and barely looked up, a father whose approval she craved but who shrugged away responsibility. She'd grown up believing love was conditional, that affection was earned through perfect grades or being polite and invisible. That belief had shaped her body, her self-image, her relationship with food and comfort. Now, in adulthood, living with Sarah on camera, pursuing education and health, she confronted a pattern, emotional hunger that food temporarily fed. She felt herself unraveling, fear that she'd always default to that old coping mechanism. She took a deep breath and, for the first time in a long while, let herself cry. Sarah knocked softly on the door and opened it when no answer came. Nesha was curled on the bed, shoulders trembling, tears glistening on her cheeks. Sarah's eyes widened with concern. Gentle and steady, she sat down beside her roommate and placed a comforting arm around her. "I'm okay," Nesha whispered. But the lie hung fragile. Over the next 20 minutes, Nesha unraveled. She spoke about the shame she carried, how weight had insulated her from other forms of intimacy, how food was at once security and punishment. She confessed that she'd tried hiding her feelings for so long that she no longer recognized herself. Panic rose in her throat. What if she failed again? What if, after all this work, she still collapsed again? Sarah listened. Occasionally she held Nesha tighter, whispered, "You're not alone. You're safe. You deserve to heal." She didn't judge, didn't suggest quick fixes. She just stayed. When Nesha's sobs slowed to faint tremors, she licked her lips and looked Sarah in the eye. "I'm tired," she said simply. Sarah shifted. "Then rest. No judgment, no pressure. Let's just breathe." And so they breathed, slow inhales, slow exhales. Sarah's presence was quiet support, stable ground amid Nesha's storm. Eventually the tears dried. Yet Nesha felt raw, exposed, but also lighter. She'd spoken aloud the fears she'd buried. Nesha's memory drifted inward. She walked through old hallways in her mind, echoing footsteps beneath fluorescent lights. She was 5 again, pushing a toy across the floor, watching her mother asleep on the couch after her shifts. No breakfast, no good morning kiss. She wanted her mom to look at her, but eyes stayed closed. At 9, she entered middle school, awkward and heavy, already carrying a burden she didn't name. Kids around her whispered and pointed. Teachers offered polite sympathy but no solutions. She learned self-consciousness, hiding to avoid humiliation. When she tried dieting, her mother scolded, "Stop complaining, pull yourself together." It wasn't mean exactly, but it was cold, and it taught her weakness was unacceptable. So she got good grades, helped with chores, stayed silent, and continued to gain weight. At 16, whispers began at family gatherings. Comments disguised as concern. "She looks unhealthy. Have you tried walking more?" She smiled politely and turned away, fists clenched inside, fight or flight, yet freezing. No encouragement to seek help or therapy. College years brought another trauma. A trusted friend betrayed a confidence, spreading rumors, judging her body, making her feel unsafe in her own dorm. That friend became part of her belief. People who knew her deepest vulnerabilities would hurt her. She shut down again, more deeply, hiding in food and isolation. Returning to reality, Nesha blinked back tears, now softer, more reflective. Sarah sat quietly beside her. Nesha reached, took her hand. "Thank you," she whispered. Over the next days, Nesha began small rituals. Morning stretches, writing one gratitude each night, opening a mental picture book of comforting memories, her favorite childhood blanket, her dog's floppy ears, her proudest grade. She'd previously rejected affirmations. Too cheesy. But now she tried. I am allowed to feel. It's okay to ask for help. They felt tender, vulnerable, but also powerful. Sarah helped by ordering books from the library, personal stories, journaling guides, childhood trauma and recovery. They sat in the yard, reading in companionable silence. One evening, their neighbor from upstairs, a kindly elderly woman, brought over jasmine tea in mugs. She'd noticed Nesha quiet lately. Being filmed didn't always mask family-like intuition. They chatted gently, and the neighbor listened. She told stories of her own tears years past, reassurance in human voices. Nesha found herself comforted just being heard. A week later, Nesha logged into a teletherapy app. She'd hesitated for weeks, paying for help, exposing vulnerability to a stranger, but now felt resolved. Her therapist, Dr. Martin, was warm, didn't judge. He asked open questions. What brought you here today? Nesha told him slowly, about pain, shame, self-worth tied to weight. She cried again, but this time in purposeful form, processing not pinging. Dr. Martin explained trauma's ripple. Emotional safety deficits lead to emotional overeating, even in adulthood. He shared techniques, building a safe inner room visualization, grounding tools, naming 5 things she can see, hear, touch, identifying one supportive person she trusts, Sarah. They created a plan: journaling, coping self-talk, paced walking, trauma-informed eating approach. By the 3rd session, Nesha grasped something. She didn't have to erase the past. She could re-story it. She could recognize the errors, neglect, guilt, shame, and reframe them. She survived. She deserved support. She is more than her weight. After therapy, even mundane acts sparked hope. She walked slowly around the yard. She ate a carefully prepared bowl of oatmeal, feeling each bite. She took photos of blooming flowers outside her window, tagging the images as "beauty I created." She wrote notes. It's okay, I'm tired. I deserve a peaceful evening. It didn't feel heroic, just human. Yet it was revolutionary for her. The pace of progress was gentle, imperfect, uneven, but real. Over breakfast with Sarah, they planned a walk together to the nearby park. Cameras weren't rolling today. This was just for them. They walked beneath mango trees, breezes in hair. Nesha inhaled for several beats and said softly, I can breathe again. But healing isn't linear. A few days later, family contact reopened wounds. Her mother called, noticing no weight change yet. Are you still trying? She pressed. Nesha hesitated. The old fear of disappointing, of being judged, surfaced.